Keanu Reeves meets his doppelganger on the streets. You won't believe what happens next. Where are you watching from? Let me know in comment box and subscribe for more interesting stories. It was a crisp, sunny afternoon in the heart of downtown. The streets were alive with the usual bustle of people. Tourists snapping photos, street vendors calling out to passers-by, and city dwellers weaving their way through the crowd. The scent of fresh coffee and food from nearby carts filled the air, blending with the hum of conversation. Keanu Reeves, dressed in a simple black hoodie and jeans, strolled casually down the street. His presence was calming, but it went mostly unnoticed as the city's rhythm continued unabated. He had long learned how to blend in, how to move through the crowd without drawing attention. But today, something felt different. Almost as if the universe was conspiring to throw him a curveball. As Keanu made his way past a small cafe, he caught sight of a figure standing across the street. The man was facing him, wearing a dark jacket and sunglasses, but there was something unmistakable about his presence. It was him. The same face, the same posture, a mirror image of Keanu. Keanu's steps slowed as he processed the oddity. He blinked, certain that he was seeing things. But no, there was no mistake. The man across the street looked exactly like him. He paused in his tracks, watching the figure. It was uncanny. The stranger even had the same kind of quiet, intense aura that Keanu was known for. A sudden wave of curiosity surged through him. What was going on? Just as the stranger began to cross the street toward him, the crowd seemed to stop in its tracks. People who had been walking, talking, or lost in their own worlds suddenly froze, noticing the two men. They exchanged confused glances, unsure of what they were seeing. The world around them seemed to hold its breath. Keanu and his doppelganger stopped just a few feet away from each other. There was a moment of pure silence between them. An odd tension hanging in the air. The man in the jacket slowly took off his sunglasses and smiled, a grin that mirrored Keanu's. "Well, this is something," the doppelganger said, his voice low and familiar. Keanu stared at him, incredulous. "You've got to be kidding me." The crowd, now aware of the unusual scene unfolding, began to murmur. Some pulled out their phones to capture what they thought was an elaborate stunt. Others looked on in confusion, pointing at the two men. "Wait, is that Keanu Reeves?" one person whispered. "No way. Is there another one?" another person exclaimed. Someone in the crowd shouted, "Hey, which one's the real Keanu?" The confusion only seemed to grow as people began gathering around, eagerly trying to figure out which of the two men was the real Keanu Reeves. The street, once lively and bustling, now felt like a theater stage where the audience awaited the grand reveal. Keanu chuckled softly, running a hand through his hair. "I think we've got a problem here," he said, looking at his doppelganger. The other Keanu laughed, shrugging. "I think you're right, but I'm not sure how to fix it." It was a surreal moment. Neither man knew exactly what to do. People began snapping photos, some even holding up signs with questions like, "Are you twins?" or "Are you his brother?" and "Is this a new movie role?" Keanu turned to his doppelganger and asked, "So, who are you?" The man gave a mischievous smile. Well, I guess you could say I'm a bit of a fan. But I don't mind being mistaken for you. It's not a bad thing, right?" Keanu nodded slowly. "Not at all. But this is a little much for a regular walk through the city." Just then, the crowd grew more excited, buzzing with speculation. People started pointing out the subtle differences between the two, trying to deduce which Keanu was the real one. Someone started chanting, "Keanu, Keanu," and the others eagerly joined in, caught up in the fun. Amused by the spectacle, Keanu and his look-alike shared a laugh. Finally, Keanu raised his hand to calm the crowd. All right, everyone. Here's the deal. I'm the real Keanu, but let's not make this a big thing. The crowd quieted, some still unsure, but accepting the declaration. But what about him? One person asked, still trying to figure out the situation. Keanu smiled and pointed to his doppelganger. Well, he's me, in a way. Maybe we'll let him take over for a while? The crowd laughed, the tension lifting, and the mood lightened. The impromptu event had turned into a moment of laughter, a shared experience that none of them would forget anytime soon. I think we should just enjoy the confusion, Keanu said to his look-alike with a grin. The two of them exchanged a look, and for a brief moment, the world around them faded. They stood together, two versions of the same man, both understanding that the bizarre situation was something they could both embrace. And so, they took a few photos with the crowd, signed some autographs for the excited onlookers, and laughed together. Eventually, Keanu waved goodbye to his doppelganger. Well, it's been fun, Keanu said, his voice warm, but I think it's time for us to part ways. The other Keanu nodded, smiling. Same here. Maybe we'll meet again someday. With that, Keanu turned and walked away, the crowd still buzzing behind him. As he disappeared into the crowd, he couldn't help but laugh to himself. In a city where so many things happened every day, this was one encounter that would be remembered as a strange, unforgettable moment. The real Keanu Reeves had just become part of the town's newest, most confusing legend.